Mm, mm, mm. Oh, hi, and welcome to Tuesdays with Teacher Tina, where at least every 2 weeks I post a video to help either current VIPKid teachers or potential VIPKid teachers so that you can be the best that you can be. So, in case you missed my first video with interview tips, click the link below because this video pretty much piggybacks off that first one. So I basically got a lot of really good questions after that first video, through email mostly, and I decided, you know what, I might as well make another video. So I decided to do this video in the same format as the last one. So I've got 8 note cards for 8 tips, with that elusive last orange tip that I know you just can't wait for. So, but I'm gonna make you wait for it. So anyway, without further ado, let's get started. Tip number 1, set the scene. I have a question for you. Let's say that you are a professional ballerina. All right, just imagine. Yeah, I know you're probably not. Well, I don't know. I don't know you. Maybe you are. I shouldn't judge you. But anyway, let's just suppose that you are a professional ballerina. You spend months preparing this dance. You got your tutus ready. You got your hair sprayed like crazy, like a helmet. And you know that dance inside and out. Are you going to do it in the dark? No, you're not. You are going to make sure that you have great lighting so that all your hard work doesn't go to waste, okay? So basically, you want to make sure that you have the right lighting, the right background, everything is ready to go so that the interviewer can really focus on you. So I'm going to show you real quick my 2 different setups that I have, all right? So come with me. Sorry if that made you nauseous. All right. So this was my first setup that I had. You can see I have a US map down here. I have a world map up there, and I have a little letter border also. Some other things you may notice. It echoes in this room a good bit. I had a headset on, so apparently my sound was okay, but I can hear that I'm echoing, and it's kind of annoying. Also, check out this lighting. It's all on this side of my face. That's a little better, but it's still not great. Even this bad boy doesn't do the trick. So, even though this background and this lighting was okay and got me through the interview, I knew that I needed a change. So, let's go back. All right, back to my classroom. So, this is my background. You'll notice the lighting is a lot better. Maybe you even notice that the sound is better. I keep it pretty simple back here. Nothing too crazy, nothing too distracting. Personally, I think the map in the other room was a little bit much, but the interviewer and my mock mentor both liked it. So just make sure that it looks like you put some effort into it. All right, that's what they're looking for, that you're prepared. So first thing is check your setting. I actually don't even have any lights on in here unless you count these bad boys. All right, I don't have any overhead lights on right now. It's about 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I get great light in here. Now I'm sure, since I teach early in the morning, once it stops being light so early, I'm going to need some extra light. But for now, it's great. So that was tip number 1, set the scene. Tip number 2, check your tech. I can't stress this enough. I know so many people who I've coached who that was their main issue. It added unnecessary stress to their lives. All right, it doesn't matter how great your lighting is if your camera never can open. All right, so you need to be sure that you enter that class as soon as possible. Make sure that you're familiar with the screen. Be sure that you have your headset. Last time I introduced this headset, it's actually a gaming headset that I got on Amazon for $20. It's a little hot for my liking, but it does the trick. I've never had a student not able to hear me before, so I highly recommend getting an actual headset. It makes you look really professional also. So have that headset, and you want to always be sure that you have backup. All right? Let's say that something happens to that headset. I don't know what happens to it. You want to be sure that you have a backup. All right? If you only have earbuds, that's probably fine for the interview. It's not ideal. You probably want to get a headset once you're hired, but I don't think it's going to make or break you as long as they can hear you and you can hear them really well. That being said, if possible, try to have a backup of everything. Now, not everything. You don't need a backup of your lipstick and a backup of your shirt, whatever. But if you have a backup laptop, let's say that your spouse or friend or somebody who you live with has a laptop that person leaves during the day, ask if you can have that set up, have it already logged into VIPKid just in case, let's say your computer decides to run an update. You have that other laptop. Now, I'm not saying go buy another laptop, just if you have one accessible, have it set up and ready to go. So that was number 2. Woohoo! Check your tech. And also make sure that your phone and other devices are set to silent. Nobody needs to hear Rihanna in the middle of your video, of your interview, all right? So that was number 2. Number 3, switch it up. Woo! Switch it up. You want to avoid being a robot when you're preparing. Yes, you want to prepare a lot and often, but if you practice using the same name every single time, when you have that interviewer there, you might accidentally call that person Ken or Tim or whatever name you've been practicing. All right? If I hadn't switched it up, I would have called my interviewer Ketchup because that's the name that my husband chose to go by. So I actually made my husband switch his name every time so that I didn't get used to saying the same name every time. If you're practicing by yourself, I really recommend anticipating different answers to questions and potential mistakes that the person could make so that you don't always rehearse that person getting it right. Sometimes rehearse that person getting it wrong and how you're going to respond. You need to switch it up so that you stay fresh and so that you don't automatically just, robot mode, start talking during your interview and it's not even making sense. So switch it up. All right. Again, that was number 3. Switch it up. Number 4. TPR your heart out. You need to always practice with TPR, especially this one and this one. These are your 2 favorite things to do when you're teaching, when you're in your interview. Anytime you want the student to be looking at your pronunciation, I recommend getting really close. Not too close, not like this, that's too much. But get up close. Make sure that you are pronouncing everything. All right? This is a sure sign that, hey, look at my lips. This is a sign that says, now you try. All right? A really good tip that I got from my mock class mentor, if you're trying to have the student say a full sentence, a string of words, if they're only giving you one at a time, count it out. Super helpful. All right? So let's say that I'm trying to get my student to say, I see my grandpa. And maybe the student just says, Grandpa. Okay, how are you going to get that student to say, I see my grandpa? Hey, that's a good idea. All right, so do something like this. I see my grandpa. I see. Yes! All right, maybe it looks a little cheesy, but counting out the words is super helpful for the student. They know how far along they are in that sentence, and it just gives them a good visual. So TPR, super important, super important. By the end of a lesson with a student, if you're teaching vocabulary using TPR, that student should be able to know what word you're talking about just by seeing your TPR. That's how much you should be using it, especially with the beginner students. So again, that was tip number 4, TPR your heart out. And kind of piggybacking off of that one, number 5, cut incidental language out. Cut it out. Just cut it out. Seriously, cut it out. You don't need to be adding any language. I know I mentioned this in my first video, but it's probably the hardest thing for people to do if they're transitioning from the brick and mortar classroom. So incidental language basically means that you just move it along without explaining. If you feel yourself explaining something to a beginner student, you're probably talking too much. All right, just move it along. And keep in mind, be unapologetic. If you mess something up, let's say that you are teaching one word and you circle it and you say another word, roll with it. All right, this is when you would employ something like saying, let's say you say a mistake and then you say, yes or no, and the student's like, no, that's not what that is. Great way to rebound, right? So just have the student help you catch your mistakes if you make a mistake. Make it part of the lesson. It shows that you are quick on your feet. All right, so that was number 5. Cut incidental language out. Number 6. Think, I do, we do, you do. All right, so I'll show you an example. I'll show it to you as though I were using the screen instead of actually showing it on a board, because I think that can get confusing when you're actually trying to do a lesson. So, for example, let's say that your name were Onion. All right, so for the I do, we do, you do, it would look something like this. Onion, look! I circle the dog. I circle the dog. Onion, look, we circle the dog. We circle the dog. Onion, you circle the dog. You circle the dog. Okay? They don't need all that language like, okay, first I'm going to circle the dog, all right? I'm going to circle it first because I'm the teacher, and then second you circle the dog, and then, no. Keep it simple. Use complete sentences, but keep it as simple as possible, especially for those beginner level students. A lot of these students don't have much experience with computers, so that's a big reason that they may need your help. So, in everything that you do, think I do, we do, you do. I do, we do, you do. I do, we do, you do. Say it. You'll remember it better. All right, so that was number 6. Number 7 is do something unexpected. Did you see that coming? Maybe you did. It took me a second. But do something unexpected that will make you memorable. In my interview, my interviewer was so entertained by this. I don't recommend doing it exactly like I did it. It just, my layout worked for it, and I thought it would be goofy, and it was. In my interview, so I was in that room over there, and I had up my letter border behind me, and during the lesson, I did a little, I did one of those. All right, he did not see it coming that I was going to pull a letter out of that letter alphabet. In my feedback, he said that I did a great magic trick. I don't think that's a magic trick, but I'll take it because I had fun doing it, and he really laughed at me a lot. Another question that I got about the interview also was whether you should do the recorded video or a live video. Now, I don't know that it really increases or decreases your likelihood depending on which one you do of whether you get hired. But personally, I liked having the live interview. I tend to feed off of other people's energy, and I really enjoyed having that one-on-one with my interviewer. Also, the feedback was immediate. I literally knew how much I was going to make by the end of my interview. So within half an hour of starting, I already knew how much I was going to make, which I thought was really cool. And then I was prepared to move on to the next step, and it was really quick and easy. So anyway, yeah, do something unexpected. That was my number 7. I just recommend doing at least or maybe only just one thing that your interviewer is not expecting, because your interviewer is going to remember and think that you're pretty darn clever. All right? And the last tip, that elusive orange tip, is remember, this is your shine time. All right? This is your shine time. Your interviewer is not there to nitpick you. They actually really want you to get hired. So they're there to give you feedback, kind of lead you along the way. They're not there to try to trick you. So just be yourself. Be smiley. Remember to keep tips in mind and prepare a lot. They are not looking for perfection, okay? Maybe you're trying to make it perfect. It's not going to be perfect. They are just looking for potential, all right? So be sure that you are showcasing your skills the best that you can, and I'm sure that you are going to do great, all right? That's all that I have for you today. If you have any questions, feel free to post them below or email me. My email is listed below. If you are interested in having me as your referring teacher, follow the steps below. I would love to coach you. And if you have any requests for videos, email me or post below. I would love to know what you want to know. So without any further ado, I'm going to go finish eating my apple. All right. Thank you. Happy teaching. Bye.